what's going on, guys? We are getting ready to pull up at an Amana 16 Seer 2-stage system. It's been in previous videos. There's a part 1 and a part 2. It's called I don't know, it's something. I went on a rant on one of the videos about it, but anyway, it used to be a communicating system, and that was the whole issue, is that we weren't communicating. So I put a Honeywell 9000 on the wall because they look almost identical to the communicating systems, and went and wired it up regular, non-communicating. It's been a while. I'd have to look back on YouTube and see exactly how long it's been since we did that. I would say at least a year. Ever since then, they said it's been fine, but they called this morning and said that the condenser's not coming on. Said the blower's running, but the condenser's not coming on. So we are not too far from there, and I figured I would get y'all some shots if I can. So stay tuned. Alright guys, here's our Amana heat pump, ASZC 16048. Now if y'all remember, we replaced this condenser under warranty because it has a lifetime warranty. So this condensing unit has been replaced. So this is not the original one. This is a replacement condenser. So let's get it open and we'll see what we find. All right, guys. If you look right here on the LEDs, we have a L2 code. If you come over here to the service panel, go to your L's and you find L2 high pressure cutout lockout, 3 trips. So let's see what that's about. All right, guys, when a system goes into lockout like that, you have to reset the board. You know, of course, they're going to tell you to go inside and kill the air handler. Basically, all you want to do is kill the 24 volts of the board. Well, you know, I'm not going to walk all the way back upstairs to go kill the breaker on the air handler. So what I've done is here on the terminal block, the low voltage terminal block, I've removed the red wire, and you can see it right here. The LEDs are off. That'll reset the board. And I'm thinking we might have a condenser fan motor out on this unit. Or not a condenser fan motor, but a capacitor, because it's got one of these Chinese capacitors on it. And you see that little bubble right there? Usually when that little bubble is popped like that, it's a weak or bad capacitor. So we're going to hook the red wire back up and see if this thing will fire, and see if the condenser fan motor is running. Okay guys, now we are in C3, which if you look here, C3 is a cool mode short cycle timer. So basically the board is in time delay. So once the time delay releases and the unit starts, we'll get back with y'all. Alright guys, well the system has fired up, and it is not a condenser fan motor issue, at least it doesn't look like it. I do want to check that capacitor though to make sure it's not weak. And I'm going to go ahead and throw some gauges on here and see what kind of head pressure we're running. I don't have a Z manifold head pressure gauge. I need to get me a new one. I want to update to the digitals like Zach has, but I just can't do it right now, but I'm going to. I'm going to get the testos out and pop them on here and see if we're running a high head. Either that, if we're not running a high head, my suspicion is going to be that the capacitor is weak and the condenser fan motor is shutting down. So we're going to check a couple things here. Alright guys, C2 means cooling stage 2, so we're in high stage. I've got to, that's not a high head pressure at all. Subcooling is actually a little low. I don't remember if it was cold when I reinstalled this unit or what. I honestly do not remember. But we're going to wait for that charge to bounce around a little bit. But definitely don't have a head pressure issue right now. We'll see if it spikes. What I am going to do here in a minute after this levels out, and I'm going to take some amp draws on the motor and stuff. See if this levels out, and if it does, you know, and then if it does level out and the head pressure doesn't spike, I'm going to check the capacitor, which I'm going to check the capacitor regardless. But let's give this thing a few minutes to run. Alright guys, our condenser fan motor is running at exactly 1 amp. The fan load amps on this motor is 1.2. So we're fine there. We're looking just fine. The compressor is 21.2. This is our compressor common right here, and we're running at 11. So that's fine too. The charge is starting to settle in. The superheat is dropping. The subcooling on these Goodman Amana units is 3 to, I think it's 3 to 5. I have to look on the chart. But the superheat is starting to fall. The head pressure is definitely not spiking. So I'm going to give it a few more minutes of run time, and then I'm going to check the capacitor. Guys, we've been running a while now. Everything is settling in really nice. Superheat's coming down in an acceptable range. The subcooling rating on this unit is 5 to 7, but it's like 80 degrees up in that house, you know, and the subcooling it jumps up to about 3.5. I'm not going to play with the charge, you know, for that little bit amount. The condenser coil is not restricted. It's not dirty. You can see it's clean, and it's like that all the way around. I've checked it. Our amps are still looking good. We're at an amp on the condenser motor, and we are at 11 on the compressor. So none of that is throwing any red flags. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull that disconnect over there, and we're going to check the capacitor and see if it's weak. That would be the only other thing I could see. Maybe it's weak and the condenser motor is shutting down after a while. So that's what we're going to do next, is check this capacitor. Alright guys, we got a 30/5. I've already tested it, but I want to show y'all on camera. I'm going to try to do this the best I can with one hand. Common to hermetic. We have 28.96, which is fine. And then common to fan, 4.892. We have a tolerance of 5%. So that's fine. No red flags there. Guys, I have the system back online. Our pressures have gotten even better. The subcooling is now in the Amana range on the chart here. Superheat is great. You know, evaporator temperature looks good. Everything is looking great. Our amps are still fantastic on the fan motor. Not 0.99 to an amp. Compressor is running at 11.2527, you know, somewhere in that range. So I mean, it's I know it said head pressure lockout, but and don't get me wrong, I'm going to stay here with it for about another 10 to 20 minutes. But I went ahead and wrote 30/5 on the capacitor because that tag is getting scratched up. But I don't have a dirty condenser coil. I don't have a weak capacitor. I do not have a fan motor that's over amping. I have a good charge. I'm in high stage. C2, that's high stage. I mean, the customer even came down the stairs right there a minute ago, and she said, whatever you did worked, because it's sure starting to cool off. So, I mean, I haven't really done anything except reset the board. You know, it's hard to troubleshoot something that's not acting up. I mean, I think I've checked all, you know, everything that there is to check. We definitely don't have a TXV issue, that's for sure. Subcooling looks great. Superheat looks great. Head pressure looks great. I mean, everything looks fine. I don't know. I mean, was it a fluke? I really don't know. I don't have the answer at this time. But I'm going to sit with it for about another 10 to 20 minutes and make sure that nothing spikes on me or anything like that. But as of right now, I don't see any issues. All right, guys, we look into the inside the Amana, the Goodman Amana control panel. Cooling mode charging. We're with a TXV. It says right here, number 4, superheat at the vapor. No, I'm sorry, that's not the one we want. Right here, number 5, subcooling at the liquid service valve should be between 5 and 7 degrees. We're at 7 degrees. We have 7 degrees of subcooling. We have 13 degrees of superheat. We have a 137 suction pressure with a 253 head pressure. And that is fantastic. We have a 61 degree liquid line, and we have a 48 degree evaporator. I mean, you know, you can't really ask for much better than that. We are still pulling 1 amp, exactly 1 amp on the condenser fan motor. We're rated for 1.2, 0.99 to 1 amp. The compressor is rated at 21.2. We're pulling 11.4. So, you know, what do? You know, and I'm going to be completely honest with her. I'm going to tell her that we had a fault code. I reset the board, and ever since I did that, I checked the refrigerant charge, which I did. I've checked the condenser coil for, you know, dirty, make sure it's not dirty or restricted. It's not. I've checked it all the way around. I mean, there's really not much more I can do here. If it trips again, we'll come back. All right, guys, I put the control panel back on because I was getting ready to pack up my gear. And right as I put the control door on, the system shut down. Now, I think it has reached temperature, but I went ahead and popped the door back off to make sure it didn't throw a code, and it didn't. We're on C3. C3 is a same thing we talked about earlier. It's a cool mode short cycle timer. Basically, it's a time delay. Now, so what I want to do now is run upstairs and see if the system has satisfied. All right, guys, the system was not satisfied, but the unit is back running. For some reason, it kicked into time delay, and it did not do that until I put the door on. So I don't know if I hit something or what, but I've been sitting here with it. We're still holding the same pressures. We didn't get a fault code. I know it's not my float switch because I broke red on this system. So if it had been my float switch, everything would have shut down. I would have lost 24 volts out here. That did not happen. I always break red on my float switches. So I know that's not the issue. I'm gonna put the door back on again, and I'm gonna sit here with it for a few more minutes and make sure we don't see anything out of the ordinary. Okay, guys, I'm leaving this house. Man, I bet you I've been here for about 2 hours. I mean, just playing with this thing, and I just can't get it tacked up at all. You know, after I reset that board, it never gave me any trouble. The reason that I threw that code when I put the door on, that it went back at the time because my red wire was a little loose on the terminal. After I tightened it up on the terminal strip, it never did it again. After I put the door on, everything was fine. I mean, you know, on something like that, see, like, you know, she has no more labor warranty. I put that system in, I don't even know, I can't remember when I was selling it, man. I think it was 2013. But I did replace the condenser, and while I was off camera, I looked up the last YouTube video that I had on it from when we had trouble, and we set the condensing unit. It was in August of 15, so it's been a year and a half since I set that that new condenser in for the lifetime warranty. So I did have, she did not have any more labor warranty. I could have collected her, but I didn't because I mean, she wanted to pay me, but I told her to let's watch it for, you know, at least through the middle of the week, and if everything is okay and it doesn't act up again, then I'll go ahead and send her a bill and she can pay me. But I'm just not comfortable taking her money right now because I mean, all I did was reset the board, but I have no evidence of why it would have went into high pressure lockout. Did they run the heat pump on a warm day, or like a really warm day? I don't know. Maybe that's what it was. You know, because if you run a heat pump on a really warm day, you know, the head pressure is going to spike. I don't know. That's one thought. Maybe that's what happened, but it's hard to troubleshoot something when your charge is good, your superheat, your subcooling is good, your amps are good, your capacitor's good. You know, I'm not going to go changing parts, that's for sure. So basically, what I've done is I've told her, just hold off on paying me until at least, you know, today's Monday, until at least Wednesday or Thursday, until we make sure that everything's going to be okay. If it doesn't act up by then, I'm pretty confident that we'll be good to go, and maybe they just ran the heat pump on a very warm day, you know, or they had the thermostat set on heat, and I don't know. You know, it's one of those things where you just don't know. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll see y'all on the next one.